You didn't come this far to play small. This is Winning Daily, the podcast that builds winners in life and in business. Welcome home. All right, back at the Winning Daily Lab. Welcome to the Winning Daily podcast. Today we have on a very special guest. I'm joined by my partner, Adam Mai, and I want to welcome in our special guest, Noah Sharp.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, look, fair warning, disclaimer. We're going to put this up on the screen. Disclaimer, Noah is in prep right now, and Noah's also low carb. So look, trigger warnings are fair right here in the lab. But no, appreciate you joining us.
But a fucking sensor thing. Oh, shit. Oh,
there we go. We're already fucking it up.
Oh, my God. That was 3 already.
Yeah, but it's good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you. I know Adam gets to see you all the time. Yeah. But if you guys don't know, maybe Noah, introduce yourself. Tell us, who is Noah Sharp, man?
I'm annoying as shit. No, I'm a trainer in person, online. I also have a team of trainers. I do content, but I do not like to be called a content. What do they call them? A content creator. I just like to have fun with it. So, I don't know, man. I'm me. I think me, Noah Sharp is... Adam, you can go for that one.
Yeah. So the thing that me and Noah has always said is we've always referenced her. Me and my wife, Erica, we reference her as one of the OGs, right? She was with us and she started with us, the first day we opened our doors. Actually, before we even opened our doors.
No floors. There's still cockroaches on that shit.
So she had came over and she saw the vision. We talked and we just hit it off. And not only was it like on a personal, spiritual, and like on a just the professional level as well. We just connected on so many different ways. And so the thing I think from day one that we saw in each other and that we loved for the last 4 or 5 years is every day we grew. Like there was growth every single day, and there was always this constant conversation of how do we get better, right? And that's why I invited her out to here today, just to kind of I want to share her story. I want also to, ask her and have a general conversation of, what was that like? What was the things that like went through your mind? If you can help some others out that's kind of starting off, what were the natural progressions, and what's that mindset like when you first started off? Because just to kind of brief off, I think, right, the job that you had before was you were literally just like the front. You weren't even a personal trainer at that moment yet. You were just at the front desk, I remember.
No. So I was a trainer. I'd gotten certified. Literally, I passed my CPT a week before I moved to LA. Okay. So I literally I was like, I'm going to be a trainer. And I made the decision. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it in LA. Like, I'm gonna go to the biggest city ever. There's diversity. Fuck all that shit." I was gonna go. So I literally was like, I gave myself 6 months to take my NASM course.
Yeah.
I took it on like a Thursday, and I'd already put in my notice for my apartment. Yeah. So I was like, I'm moving to LA to do it. So I was like, I hope I pass because I'm going. And now I know I'm like that. I mean, it's important. But so I literally moved like 2 days. I passed. I was like, cool, moved, and then I found like the local Long Beach 24-hour fitness. Like I had Googled like which gyms pay their personal trainers the most. Yeah. And like it was like Gold 24. I'd heard like the local Gold was like So I was like, can we go to 24? And I just bugged them until they hired me. At that time, like I didn't know I was fat, but I was fat, so it didn't matter. But they were like, he was like, and he was like looking at my thing, and he was like, do you have your cert? And I was like, yeah, here's my cert. And he's like, you passed 2 days ago. Like, I was like, yeah, but I was like, just hire me, man. Like I'll crush it. I promise, I'll crush it. And I was just one of those people that just hung out at the front desk, and everyone, like any guy or anyone like coming in, I'm like, hey, come do a leg day with me. Just do a leg day with me, and if like you're not dead at the end of it, like I'll fuck off forever. And I was just doing that, and I was like lived there for like 5 months up until COVID happened, and I just built up like a full clientele. I was like, this is the dream, man. Like this is dope. And then COVID happened, and then I think I was pretty much trying to keep like a certain amount of online clients, just trying to give them plans and stuff, and then right now I was in my last freaking like grand, and I think I just seen like or I just encountered you and I connected somehow. Yeah. I might have been on like LinkedIn or some shit, and I was kind of just like blowing off all of these interviews, and like my brother was like gonna give me a job as like a front desk at his car dealership, and I was like, yeah, okay, and then right when I talked to you, and I like walked in this empty warehouse, and there's like no floors. It's like you and Erica, Bren, and then I was still like JP back then. And then you're like, yeah, like we just want to build this place where, you know, we have our trainers, but also like we're big on like gratitude, and like we want to grow spiritually. We want to like grow financially and all that stuff. And I was like, fuck yes. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like I was literally blew up. Everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. And then you're like, and that'll be X amount. And I was like, wait, you want me to pay you? Which is a whole new thing, because I was like, man, I just figured out how to pay taxes. I don't know anything. And then I was like, all right, and I was like, went home, and I was like, if I move this here and here, and I was like, I better fucking figure it out. I literally gave you like whatever the rent was at that point in time. I was like, I moved her out, and I like cleared up my savings, and I was like, I better figure it the fuck out. And then I was just there every day. I was like, what can I do? What can I do? Because you guys were just, I was like, I've never been in that close of proximity to anyone I saw winning. Like I shared a bed with my mom until the 9th grade, and then got evicted. And then I was sleeping on a twin mattress from grades freaking 10 to the time that I got my first apartment. I was sleeping on a mattress. So for like to be in that close proximity, I was like, ooh, I was like, okay, how do I get there? That's always been like my, I don't have a game plan. Like I was never around parents who were like, this is, where are you gonna go to college? Just go to our colleges. And it's like, what do you want to do? It's never been that. It's been like, okay, I see that. How do I get there? Okay, I see that. How do I get there? I'm like, oh, Adam drives that car. Hey, Adam, what'd you have to get that car?
Yeah.
Like that's always how I've been with you too. I've always been like, hey, like, what do you do for that? What do you do for that? Okay, cool. Let me do that. And that's just always, I've never known any other way, which I guess is good, because it has never allowed me to set up boundaries in my mind on what's possible. Because I've just been like, okay, if someone did it, I just figure out how did they do it, and if they did it, I could do it. And that's such like a
the energetic curiosity, like
it's
almost like childlike curiosity.
100%. It's never, because it's, and some people would call it naive, but for me, it's just like, I think there's so much freedom to it. And on one end, it leaves a lot of, there can be anxiety and nerves, because you're just kind of figuring everything out one step at a time. And like, that is like a really crazy way to approach life. But also at the same time, it's like, I mean, why not? Yeah. I guess, like, well, I'm like, if Adam did it, and Adam's from fucking Oakland, and I'm like, don't let the OC fool you. I was like, all right, if you're from Oakland, I'm from 30 minutes from Oakland, there should be no reason why I can't do that. So that's just always been my approach.
And you know, just and that, when you say that, it kind of like made me remember a couple of incidences. Like I remember Noah just asking straight out, and in front of like several different other people, she literally went down the line. It was like, how much do you make a year? How much do you make a year? Right? How much do you make a year? And at first, I'll tell you straight up, like in the normal,
sounds like me.
Yeah, in the normal setting, you know, like in society, it's like taboo, right? Because you don't ask somebody how you. But I literally turned around. And I was like, no, she's
like, what'd you clear before taxes?
Yeah. So she was actually genuinely, and so we would have that conversation. I go, you know, this is because she would ask me too. I remember she's like, when did you, or how did you break your first million? And then we started having that conversation, and I started breaking it down and started talking to her about that. But like, I saw so many other, like when she went down the line, several other people cringed for a quick second. Me just being observant, and then I started having a conversation with her. I was like, well, the whole thing is for us to share, you know, and
I can't believe I asked that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was like, well, I mean, and that was the thing. It wasn't that she was trying to. That's where I think for us we connected very well, because I never saw it or believed that Noah was trying to size somebody up. It wasn't that. It was more of, she was like, okay, I want to know how. Yeah,
you're measuring.
I want to know how to get there.
I
want to understand.
It was always like, how far am I from this?
Yeah.
What do I? It's always like trying to work backwards.
Yes.
And like, my only teacher, I think, like if I were to call you like a mentor, my only mentor before you was like the Gary Vaynerchuk podcast.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, okay, if I'm gonna be a trainer, this and that, okay, let me find like, oh, Gary Vee back in the day, and I would go on Spotify and I'd start episode 1, and I would just start to do that MFCO project, start episode 1, and then like, so then being in person, being like, okay, same shit, okay, so hey, where are you? Okay, how do I get there?
Yeah.
If I'm here, how do I get to that point? And I think also I have to remind myself, when I met you, I was like 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I still don't feel like that's not
How
that
old are you
long.
now?
I'm 27, gonna be 28.
Yeah.
So it's not that long ago, but I think the mindset of being like, oh, I was 22 years old, like it's not now when I hang out with 22-year-olds, I'm like, oh man, I hope I wasn't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you
now
were.
but when you tell me, you're like, oh yeah, you asked how much money. Oh my god, I was like, I asked that. I was like, oh yeah, but I was 22 and all I knew is, okay, I'm here. I want to be there. How do I get there? And
Yeah.
it's never been a question of like, is it possible? It's been like, okay, what am I willing to do to get to that point? And for me, it's always been like, well, I'll do whatever. Just tell me what to do. I've always been like that. And with you, Erica, just tell me what to do. I remember with Erica being like, oh, you were with Peter, so that, okay, can I just hang out? Can I just be in the meeting? Can I just go with you? Hey, if I fucking sweep this gym 10 times a fucking week, can I just be in the meeting? And I just wanted to be in proximity all the time.
That's willingness. Just the willingness to grow. The willingness to change. Because life is going to fuck you up whether you like it or not. But you're being in control of the change. At least you're there to... And I've seen some of your content. So I've used you as an example for other people.
My OnlyFans.
Yeah, not the free content. No, I've seen some of your content, and so for the people at home that you're watching this, where you're like, damn, who is Noah Sharp? And you're learning very quickly who Noah Sharp is right now in all the best ways. But so is it, who does Noah help? Like, and I know that can change over time, that kind of stuff, but who does Noah help? Because I've seen like some of your content is man, like, dude, you are not afraid to call people out in content. And I've even showed your content because it stands out. And I've showed it's so real, and the mindset that you have behind your content or you just as a person, it comes out so naturally. And I think that's awesome because we're here with cameras and whatnot. It just comes out naturally, so people can see that and they can see that it's relative. I even show my wife like, hey, look at Noah, and she's like, damn, that's true. I forget what it was. Like, if you're a piece of shit if you don't re-rack your ways or whatever.
Yeah, I stand by that one.
Yeah. We definitely do that. Yeah, no, but like just that type of thing. But who does Noah help? Just so that people can kind of get an idea.
For me, like, my actual clientele is consistently people who are more high-end professionals who just want that blueprint. They want, and most people, what I've realized, especially like I said, being around Adam and being around other like-minded folks, there's a similarity where they don't want any bullshit. They want the blueprint, and they don't like the same shit I don't like. They don't want to tolerate laziness. They don't want. It's like, hey, they want to fucking win. And I feel like that's where it's been for my actual clientele. I help people who tend to be professionals and they want to fucking win. And you're like, hey, just tell me how to win. Like my client John, who he's like, I'm like, bro, let's eat it. And even like my people who are not like a CEO, there's someone in their circle who just they're that person. Like every person I have is someone that they're the winner in their circle. They're the person that's in their circle that's just a little bit different, and they might just need someone to like see that in them and be like, yeah, dude, like, well, you don't need to be someone who drinks all the time. Like, why do you do that? Well, you don't need to be someone who eats like shit all the time. Why do you do that? Oh, what do you mean you've never been that way? Well, I mean, do you want to be that? Do you want to look like this? Like, just taking the barriers off people's minds, and it's like always just calling people up. And my content, I think there's been so much different ways I've approached it. And I think now when I've just gotten back to having so much fun with it and also just not really caring because I was shadow banned for like a year and a half anyways.
Noah, what did you do, Noah? Thanks for tuning in to the Winning Daily YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and go right here and turn that notification bell on. We look forward to winning daily with you.
I was like, I talked about blank. Yeah, coming out of like freaking COVID and all that, I was shadow banned for so long and just talking about, I'd a lot of times just talking about politics and sharing my political opinions and not even sharing mine. I'd share someone else's who I just happen to agree with now. I'd still get shadow banned. So eventually I just got to the point where I was like, well, fuck it, I'm shadow banned anyways. I might as well just be like, hey, fatties, get off the phone. No, but it was just like, even my content that I feel like might rub you the wrong way, I feel like it's only gonna rub you the wrong way if you know somewhere deep down
It's true.
it's true.
There's a piece of truth.
I've never ever been offended by something that wasn't kind of true.
Right.
So if I'm like, hey dude, like, how do you call yourself a fucking man, but you're like sharing a bra with your bitch? It's like, and they're like, oh, that's just fat shaming. I'm like, but is it true? And like, that was one thing I've always like started to develop is like, before you ask if you're offended, ask if it's true. And like, I do have to reel it in sometimes because my approach is, I think I was just because I grew up with brothers, and then like I've always just been around like that where I have to remind myself like, hey, delivery matters, but also at the same time, fuck it. Like, life is fucking short, and like our culture has gotten so fucking soft that I was just like, I don't really care, and I'm shadow banned anyway, so like I'm not, you know what I mean?
What
Like,
else do I have to lose?
like I have nothing to fucking lose, and like, am I fucking gonna like this app runs my fucking life, and like because of my profession, I have to be on social media, and I was like, had to get to the point where I was like, if I fucking have to be on this fucking app, which I do, I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be me, and like whoever's gonna fuck with it is gonna fuck with it, and whoever's not can like suck a dick. I know, sorry, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
You're
But
good.
it got to that point where it was like whoever's gonna like, you know what? Like whoever, it's like same thing in real life. Like at a certain point you're like, dude, I'm too old to care. Like if you like me, you like me, and if not, that's cool too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I kind of treat Instagram that same way where it's just like I don't even look at the views anymore and like that. I know I should study algorithm more, but at a certain point, if you do this every day, it'll drive you fucking nuts. Like if you're someone who has to like analyze your content every day and do this and that, and there's some perspective where you have to from a biz standpoint, but it'd drive me fucking nuts if I had to sit there and be like staring at my own content all fucking day, because I'm annoying as shit like 90% of the time.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
trade peace of mind. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like you start to see so much of your validation through this fucking app where you're just like, not only am I spending my free time filming for this app, then I'm going to spend a lot of my other free time analyzing how that content did on this app, and then seeing how people think about me on this fucking app. And it's like, at a certain point, you're not even living in the real world. You're living through like the lens of a fucking social media, which isn't even real, dude. And especially the more you get into this fucking industry, and then you actually meet these people in real life, and you're like, oh my God, this is all fake.
Yeah.
All of it is fake. And you're like, and then you like meet him, and you're like, oh my God, dude, I remember working in Hollywood and like being in Hollywood for a year and just being like, oh my God, all these people with like 3 million followers who post this way are pulling up in like busted ass Hondas, and like, what am I doing this for? And then I got to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this for like certain individuals, and they're gonna resonate, and like everyone else, like, good for you, live your life. But when you remember that it's not even real, it frees you so much that you stop performing for like this fake app.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's a mindset thing, and we
Yeah.
talked about this past week as we're getting closer to launching Winning Daily. We're doing our first coaching calls, and we kind of tap into the foundations of Winning Daily and what that looks like. And that's, so taking into mindset these things is very important to protect your peace, protect your mind, and you do it in such a savage way, but it's real, it's raw. And I think that that's something that once you know that, you know your value, and no one can take that away from you, because no matter where I think you deliver Noah Sharp into any industry, I think she's going to be Noah Sharp. She's going to kill.
Dude, I appreciate it. I think it's just finding a way to have fun with it. Like, you guys could probably work 70, 80 hours a week, and you're like, okay, if I'm going to work the 8 hours a week, how am I going to do it in a way that still respects me and my peace, and is still, like, authentic to myself? And I feel like that's what I figured out, especially like this last year, is just figuring out, like, okay, and almost getting shadow banned almost freed me, because it was like, okay, well, if it's not going to perform regardless, like, no matter how good it would be, I could get 200 comments on something and it was going to perform regardless. So it was like, okay, if it's not going to perform regardless, what do I actually want to say? And if you treat your platform like that, like, what do I really want to say? Like, if I could be remembered for everything, if this is like a resume of mine, or someone could go back, like, how do I want to be? What do I want to say? And is it worth tap dancing, like, and not being authentic? Like, for what? And so I think almost like that, it let me rebrand and restructure. And I was working, you know, with videographers, and we would try to be strategic and this and that, and all the strategy didn't work anyways. It didn't work anyways.
It was too tight. It was putting a choke on your
It
personality.
was. And then when I would actually do something off my freaking iPhone, or just do something that popped up, and I was like, oh, that's funny, like, how can I recreate that? Or that's funny, how can I make that more myself? And it would just go off, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, it was like a whole new freaking thing where I was like, okay, you know what performs is when I'm authentic as shit, and I'm not trying to like find what's trending or what's this and that, and I'm just me. And I'm like, even if I do something that's like current and trendy, when I make it mine and I make it myself, people enjoy it. And like, even when I would say something that I was like, oh, this might be kind of, there's plenty of times like Adam would be there and be like, hey bro, can you watch this? And then I would watch his or like anyone on, and I'd watch their reaction and be like, okay, I'm gonna go based off his reaction, and if he thinks it's bad, it's probably really bad. And he'd be like, oh, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Put it like, and it would just go off. And I remember also, it's like this switch in culture where we're kind of coming away from this like soft pussy shit, and people are actually, I would say something that would seem like kind of a controversial, but then everyone would be like, oh my god, thank you for saying that. Yeah. Fuck yeah. And I'm like, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like,
you're saying what other people are thinking.
You're like, oh wait, like dad bods aren't in? Okay, cool. Like, you guys think that too? And it was like almost this relief for like, oh cool. Like, and it also makes you feel not alone. And I feel like the only way that the culture got so fucked is because everyone was scared to say what they were actually thinking.
And so everybody tried to fit in.
Everyone was trying to fit in, and everyone like who was actually thinking real thoughts and like reality and real shit was just like, oh, we can't say that. And then because you wouldn't see someone saying it, you wouldn't say it. Yeah. And so everyone thought that they were the only ones who were still like not psycho.
Yeah.
So then when you would say something like, I'll say fuck it. So if you say something like, hey, like, Gabe, you know there's only 2 genders? And then you're like, yeah, you think that too? And then Adam's like, babe, do you think that too? And all of a sudden you're like, wait, so I'm not crazy? Wait, I'm not crazy. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, like, and I feel like that's where we're getting back to, is like this place where everyone's like, oh, can we just actually say what the fuck is going on? And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, and I think you can now see that with culture a little bit, and that's why some content like mine was actually starting to do very well, because I was just like, I'm shadow banned anyways, who cares? You know what I mean?
I saw something, as you're talking, I'm thinking about an old piece of content, like way back, Kai Green, and he used to do these YouTube videos, and I watched him on a piece of content, and he was saying, it doesn't matter how someone else got there, all you need to know is it's possible. Yeah. So the how and the why, or why they're doing what they're doing, or how they're doing what they're doing, it's like perceived likelihood of achievement. It's like, maybe you're sitting at home, you're like, well, I'm not an extrovert like Noah or Gabe. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Like, it's how you do it. So what's next for Noah Sharp? And I know you're moving here. You're moving to Texas, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Gotta get them boots off.
We're going to be cousins once you move to Texas, because I'm from Louisiana. It instantly makes us cousins.
You said cousins. You got to do a blood DNA on his wife. You're from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm moving here in the next few weeks, which I'm excited about. I know Adam's just pissed off. But, I mean, for me, it's just doing... How do I do, like, kind of like Alex from Emoji says, like, how do I do it more and how do I do it better? And I already have, trainers here, and just, okay, how do I do that there? And then the online and really pivoting, which was a hard pivot, because I think going from in-person to online, you can't really push both. I couldn't start to free myself of the in-person of Long Beach, and then also, or I couldn't rely on that for my basic financial, but then also push online, because the two just weren't going together.
Yes.
And eventually being able to, free myself and trust myself enough to be like, okay, let me push this. And as soon as, of course, I re-pivoted that energy, it just started to blow up again. And then just really focus on what does my life look like in the next chapter. And I think it was really hard, because Long Beach was so much for me. It was such a big chapter for me. It was where I became a trainer. It was where I made my first 6 figures. It was where I met, Alex dude. There's
low carb.
Low carb.
I said it.
I was like, it's where I met Adam and Erica and like all my, self-made family, and it's so much for me. And I think the idea of letting that go was very, very hard. And I literally was just thinking about that on the drive out here. I was like, every time I've had to grow, it's been such an uncomfortable thing, but it's also been such an unnecessary thing. Like, I didn't have to leave my hometown. I had a serving job that I made good money at. I had my best friends there. I had, family there. I didn't have to leave. So leaving the uncomfortability was very hard. It took me longer than it should have. This period of time, I feel like not taking me quite as long, but it's the same thing. I don't have to move. I don't have to leave my in-person business. I could stay here and make, even more, probably double up my money.
I might have a different opinion on that one. So, like, in my opinion, in my perspective of it, I think you have to. It's your higher self. When you're in the physical 3D state, like today, monetary wise, like material wise, yeah, you don't have to. You can be comfortable, but I almost want to challenge that, because I believe, and this is why even when Noah brought this up, and I was like, yeah, let's kind of figure this out. I was, she was asking me about the home, the house. She's purchasing a house, all these things. Gave her all the pointers. There was never I hopefully never a negative thing or even something to hold her back. The reason why is when she brought this up, I know Noah as a person that would sit there and look at it and understand it and research it before she makes a decision. So when you make these comments, it's your higher self saying, I have outgrown this particular level or chapter, and I need this little kick, or I need to be in this uncomfortable position. I've been so comfortable for so long. I know I have more growth, and that whole desire, the mentality of like, I need to get better, drives you into the next thing.
100%. I think that's what I was saying. It's like, it's never been a physical.
Yeah.
It's never been a thing where I'm like, oh, I have
You're
to move
forced.
home.
Like
I've never been forced out of my current position. It's always been this place where I'm like, okay, I've outgrown this.
Yeah.
And then there's a very tangible energy of like, okay, it's time to grow. It's time to grow. And I think for me, like Adam said, like luckily I have people in my life who are ahead in one way or another, where I can say, hey, this is where I'm at right now. And for him, Adam's always been someone who spiritually and from a business standpoint, I can always go to that. So I said, hey, like, this is what's next. And he knew about it long before anyone knew about it, because I feel like luckily I'm so blessed where I've always kind of had that, where I can look at someone, whether it's a person in my life, a mentor, always God, and just being like, is this next? And I am an analyzer. So he knows if I bring something to him, he knows I've analyzed it like 15 different ways. And then it's like, okay, and like now coming into this place, such a peace or an excitement where I'm like, oh man. And like even today I was talking to someone and they were looking at me from a physical standpoint, and they're like, dude, you're going somewhere different. They were talking about from a physical standpoint, because I'm not even in actual like comp prep. I'm just literally, I wanted to put myself through a prep just so I could do it. And I was like, yeah, I'm pushing myself to somewhere different. It's very, very physical, spiritual. And they're like, no. They're like, the next version of you is pulling yourself towards something different. And I feel like that's always how it's been for me, where there's no reason, if you look at the physical, for me to be where I am right now. I should have done nothing. I have no high school graduate. I didn't graduate high school. I put myself through like a year of college, and I was like, fuck this. I had like minimal parental guidance growing up. My mom is like a God fearing fucking praying beast of a woman, which is all like, amen for that. But outside of that, from a financial or from my education, there's no reason for me to be where I am. There's no reason that I came to Adam with like my last freaking grand of savings after COVID and turned it into a 6-figure business within 18 months. There's no reason that I should have anyone that ever worked for me, because what the fuck is that? And I've had to learn every step of the way, and like learning from what a Gary Vee and freaking, MSEO project. I just purchased my first home, and I slept on a freaking my mom's bed until I was 15, and I slept on a mattress behind a couch in a living room until I was 21. There's been no reason why I've done anything I've done, except for the simple fact of what we said in the beginning, which I've never thought there was a reason I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I've never been like, well, that's like, it's just been like, yeah, that looks cool. I'm like, yo, Adam, I like your car, bro. How much that cost?
Yeah.
Hey, how'd you get that car, bro? And it's like, okay, cool. That's what's next. And it's just been like 1 + 1 = 2. And I think, luckily, the idea of not having, I think sometimes your parents, I think they go in front of you, but also their life experience can tell you what isn't possible. And I think having almost no one like that for the first 18 years of my life was just like, nothing's possible, but nothing's not possible. Like everything's up for grabs. Mm-hmm. And I still approach life with that kind of child mindset where I'm like, bro, everything's up for grabs. Oh, I'm here. I'm 27. I'm like, I got like 60 years left. I'm like, oh, everything's up for fucking grabs. Yeah. I'm going after that shit.
The thing too that I always see is like, I've expressed this even to some of the other trainers, especially those that are like, even Erica, right? They're like, oh, it's so sad that I'm like, she's moving. It's not like she's moving anywhere else. It's a state, right?
It's a 2-hour flight.
It's a 2-hour flight.
Texas is another country, dude. Let's be honest.
Oh, dude, I can't believe you're still in California.
Yeah. But then here's the thing. It's like when you get to certain levels, there's no more boundaries. It's not like we don't have cars and planes and all this other stuff. But also and I've even seen it firsthand experiences is that like when I want to level up or when I want to make a shift in my life, I go somewhere for a year, 2 years, I come back a totally different person, right? And it allows it because you know that you need this focus. You need some of the distractions, and good or bad, you've sat there and said, okay, there's some distractions here in Long Beach. It's you want to focus. Let's say, for instance, you're talking about the online business. You say that, but you even mention like, hey, when I'm here, people want me in person, so I can't put 100% over to the online business. And then sometimes when we had conversations and you were expressing about the online side, I said, you got to go all in. Like there's so many trainers that do like half and half, and I'm like, that's why it doesn't blow up.
You can't, because it's like you cannot promote. I think you can't promote both 100%. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I think it's almost impossible to say, hey, work with me online. But okay, I guess if you want to work with me, and if you're taking in-person clients, you're still an employee of that part of your business. Mm-hmm. And for me, when everyone's asked, they've been like, well, like, aren't you like, sad to move away, this and that? And I'm like, there's so much calling me to that next chapter. Not only is it allowing me to be closer to my family, mm-hmm. which is a whole different side, because like I've already expressed, that's not a chapter I've really had where I've been on good terms and been close in all these vicinities. So not only that, but also being able to just be isolated for a little mm-hmm. bit and having to just be with me, be just to myself, where the only goal right now is to build physically. The only goal right now is to build financially. Like if you put you and Erica on a fucking island and it was just like, hey, make money through your laptop mm-hmm. and go to the gym, and I saw you in a year, holy shit. And I already know that, right? Same thing for you. If you put you and your wife and you isolate it and you just removed yourself from everything. And I think as much as it's nerve-wracking because it took me so long to build that community in Long Beach, I'm so excited to be able to do that with no income tax, with low crime, to do that in a good school district.
Yeah, and not only that, but meet other people that you never met before. Yeah. You did it in California. You're doing it in LA, in an area where competition's high. You have all these other things. You have every reason why you can be diluted or watered down, or all these other things. And you go to another place where it's like culturally, because I did the opposite. I moved from Louisiana to California. So it was like, huh? I mean,
whole different universe.
Yeah, as much as I thought I understood it, I didn't. And then it's different. The cost of living, like you said, and all these other things. But when you get to Texas and you're there and you're changing people's lives that never met you, they never know your name, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, it's coming in with a splash.
And I get to go there and just be this current version of myself, and I get to only surround myself with people who align with the version of me that I'm stepping into. Mm-hmm. And I think even that calls me up higher, because I'm not going to be around anyone who was around me a year ago, because I'm not that person anymore. Mm-hmm. So I get to be around only people that are going to match and align with the version of me I'm trying to step into, which is a whole new like level of growth that I get to experience. And I have to be careful, because I'm good at isolating. You know me, like I'm good at, like I wouldn't have gone out for like 6 months, but just being able to, really step into this next version of myself and then build, like you said, on that. And, find the entrepreneurs in that area, find the people who are trying to, grow in that area. And they only know this version of me. Mm-hmm. And they can only call up for me. I can even go even higher, as opposed to still having to be around people who knew me a year ago, 8 months ago. Because I'm like, I don't know that motherfucker. Like, when I started self-made, I was fat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, and it's like Jesus had to leave his hometown. And I know, like, it's a crazy, I'm not comparing at all, but I'm saying there's a reason that sometimes you have to keep stepping out of that area, because there's always going to be people around you who still see that old version of you and are still there constantly reminding you of, like, remember when you were this? Remember when you were that? Like, oh yeah, this and that. The people who know me in Dallas, they'll only know a version of me that never drank. They'll only know a version of me that is, the person that works out 6 times a week and X, Y, and Z, and I don't have to constantly remind people, like, I don't know that motherfucker who you're talking about.
And I think it's a clean part, and like there's parts to it where even from experience, right? Not just my experience, but I'm talking about like if you look and you dissect, because one of the things that like myself, like I do, and even Noah was talking about this, and I gave you do this as well, is like when you look at someone else that is successful, that's, you know, that not just successful in the you know, like entrepreneur side or business side, but I'm talking about like spiritually, they have it all, you know, like their structure of their family, how they are as a person, morally and integrity and all these different things that you look at, you put them on the pedestal. You look at how they got there, there's always a very similar, somewhat of a road, right? They had to shed their skin, right? And I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible to do it like in the situation that you are in, but let's pull this back. Do you think how much harder it would be for even myself if I stayed in Oakland all these years trying to shed that, and you just walk down the street and someone's like, hey, you know,
yeah, they're always gonna see that. Oh, you don't do that anymore. Come on, man. Good. And it is that, and it's like if I'm seeing it through the eyes of where I want to be in 3 years, I'm like, I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm gonna sit my ass in fucking Dallas 24/7. I'm thinking, okay, cool. If I want to work with the fucking best people on the planet, I'm 2.5 hours from the West Coast. I'm 2.5 hours from the East Coast. I'm a little bit closer to Europe, and I'm painting a bigger picture. Yeah. Okay, cool. If I want to work with the fucking best people in the country, now I'm in the middle. Yeah. It's not just a matter of just sitting still, but it is like, why make it harder? Why make it harder to place financially when it comes from like a tax purpose? Why make it harder to be like you said, if you sit in Oakland, could you do it? Sure. But you're gonna get your ass kicked by someone who's down to fucking just be like, oh, is this a barrier? Fuck this. Yeah. And like getting to that point, I feel like when you get to a certain point in business, you get real fucking cutthroat like that, where you're like, are you holding me back? Okay, bye. It's like being in a prep. Yep. Are you in negative energy right now? Are you depleting my energy? Bye. Yeah. Like, and you can get like that, or you're not gonna fucking kick someone's ass who's just like, well, let me just see, and they take 6 months to make the choice that you made in 1 week. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to get to that point where I'm like, okay, how do I get to the next step? And just make that choice closer and closer, and get that proximity of how long does it take me to identify an opportunity or something that's a barrier and cut it? Or how often, okay, will that push me closer? How quick can I get to that version where I can make that choice faster?
Because it doesn't serve you anymore. Yeah. And you know what I mean? If you look at something and that's the whole point of growth, right? As you're growing, as you learn from experience. Again, are you going to make mistakes along the way? Yes, you're always going to make mistakes, right? And that's about business and entrepreneurship. It's not like you've been in business for 15, 20 years and all of a sudden you don't make any mistakes. It's how fast you rebound. It's you're closing that gap of like when you needed to make a decision. When you see something and you go, this does not serve me at the moment. This is where I want to go. And the quicker and you can close that gap is that's the experience. That's the understanding through the time that you need to take action, right? And so with this, I mean, yeah, like it sounds, even I'm pretty sure if you go talk to a couple of people, they think that, oh yeah, why is she making such a rash decision? I knew in my mind you were thinking about this for years.
Anyone who knows me, no, this is not rash at all. Anyone who knows me who is like, wait, Noah is moving to Dallas, this has been, I would say 15 years in the making. This has been a long game plan, but it's just been always, like I said, there's been, I feel like the chess pieces had to get moved. And like when you talk out loud, the more I think about whenever there's in my mind or in my spirit a significant death, it always shocks me back to reality. So before I moved to Long Beach, I remember Nipsey Hussle dying and being like shocked back to reality of like, oh my God, this pinnacle of fucking human for no reason, not like cancer, not like that, for no reason is dead. And I remember like sitting there in December and just being like, wow, like Miguel passed away. Like, dude, we're not immune to time. No one's immune to time. And sometimes, not that that's what made the decision, but it does always kind of center me and remind me, like when you have these people who are at the core of some different people's lives pass, and you have to remind yourself like, dude, time is of the essence. Like, let's move, let's do something, let's go. And for me, there is always, it's like I only thought about it as you were talking, and I was like, there is always a reminder, like time is finite and we only have so much time to do this. And this wasn't a rash decision at all. For me, it was just like, take a breath, breathe, and be at peace with it. Because, and like, be at peace with shedding the skin, and be at peace with the idea of losing that comfort zone. But like, I'm so excited, but also it's like skydiving, where you're just like, okay, like just breathe and go one day at a time. And that's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. It's just like, okay, just breathe and go, just breathe, and like trust in God.
Wait, you went skydiving without us?
Dude, I wouldn't see Adam always look like he's skydiving like this.
All right, so something I want to do. Well, I wish we had time for some like hot seat questions or something.
Go. I'm good. I'm good.
Cook up some hot seat questions, because I feel like Noah's gonna crush on the hot seat, or maybe you guys want to cook some up off camera and pass me something to read. That would be cool. Like read them off to you. But I'll give you the best ones off the top of my head. But and then I want you to tell the people at home what, from your perspective of winning and what it takes to win, and we'll end with that. How about that? So, hot seat question: protein shakes or meals?
Meals.
What's worse, skinny fat or just you're buff but you look like shit? You're buff but you feel like shit on the inside.
Skinny fat.
Ooh. Okay. Hot weather, cold weather?
I'll take hot weather any day of the week. I hate the fuck. There is nothing worse than being cold. I don't give a fuck when it was. There is nothing worse than being cold. They try to have our gym cold all the goddamn time, and I'm like, bitch, you better fucking lose some weight or some shit. Oh goddamn.
Fuck. I told you hot mic. All right, here we go. Let's see. Small group training or one-on-one?
One-on-one. Okay. Any day of the week.
Okay. Let's say you prefer training men or women? Hot seat.
Men, but they just bitch less. No, what? I want to train winners. You know what I hate training? I hate training a whiny bitch. I don't care if they have a dick or a pussy. I hate training a whiny bitch. So that beep beep beep. Sorry, I hate training. Like, I want to train someone who wants to win and who's like, hey, I want to win. Tell me what to do to win. And I love that. Okay, you got one cheat meal right now. What is it? Oh, dude, that's a crazy question. Okay. One cheat meal right now, if I could go anything. But can I tell you what I'm gonna eat? Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be my meal next week. It's gonna be biscuits and gravy with like a shit ton of egg whites, and then like a couple regular eggs, and then like a stack of fucking pancakes. And I'm gonna fuck that shit up. When I tell you I'm dreaming about this, okay, can I give you a quick story? I had a dream the other night. I'm going to my wedding reception, okay? I don't know if you know I'm getting married. I'm going to my wedding reception. I don't see my wife. Fuck her. I see the reception. I go to sit down, and my food's there, and I'm just like, oh. Like I said, don't see my wife. And I'm gonna go eat, and I go take a bite of the pizza, and I'm just like, ah. And then all of a sudden, I start taking my food, and I go, what are you doing? Give me my fucking food back. And they go, oh, your wife said you're on a cut. And then I wake up. This is real shit. This is real shit. Is that a dream or a nightmare? Was it a dream or a nightmare? I was like, oh dear God. So that's where I'm at in this cut, in case you're wondering. Well, that's where you're at. But tell people at home from your perspective, being Noah Sharp and all that you are, and fully living in your purpose. I truly think that it's rare when you meet somebody who's like embraced their purpose and you're like, hey, I'm here for it all. Like, give me all the smoke. This is what I am. This is what I am, whether you like it or not. So how could, because we have a wide variety of people on the other side of this camera. So how could, tell people at home, how could they start to win, and what could you pass on to someone if they're looking to get to the next level in life? I think someone who's positioning themselves to win, you need to position yourself to receive what you're actually praying for. And I think oftentimes people just ask for a lot of shit from God or the universe or whatever. Like, I believe in God, and I think we all do here. Same. But I think oftentimes people can sit there and they pray and they ask God for shit, and they never do anything to position themselves to actually receive. Because one thing that's really gotten me through this phase of my life, when I've been sitting in the shower and crying, or I've been sitting there having anxiety, or I'm running the business and trying to get to my next meal, is being like, isn't this what you asked for? Isn't this what you asked for? And then there's a calm to it, right? Like, even when you're like having a mental breakdown and you're like, well, isn't this what I asked for? Like, it calms you because you're like, oh yeah. And so I think winning and positioning yourself to win is at any time being able to sacrifice who you are to be who you need to become to receive whatever you're asking God for. So at any time, being able to sacrifice for who you need to be. And I think that is easier said than done, because it's easy to say, I want the car and I want the this and I want the that. And everyone wants the end product. And God will say, okay, well, you're going to have to go through point A to point Z, and point A through Z might be crying in the shower. It might be having mental breakdowns. It might be having your wife calling you and your business partners calling you and this is that. And everything's melting down at one time. But that's what you need to go through to get point Z. So I think at any time, and I think there's such a grace that comes with remembering that. And every time I'm having a breakdown and being like, well, didn't you ask for a lot? You asked for a lot. It's going to take a lot. You asked for a lot. And I think if someone's willing to do that, if someone's willing to say, I am willing to sit through the fucking fire, but I'm going to get to point Z, then you can win.
Yeah.
And if not, then you can't. I think it's that simple.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple. I think that winning has been glamorized, and it's been fucking made this thing, and everyone wants to be an entrepreneur and everyone wants to be rich. Okay, what are you willing to do? Everyone wants to have a fucking six-pack. Or what are you willing, like, and everything I've learned, what are you willing to do? And if you're willing to do anything, if you're willing to sacrifice anything, if you're willing to have mental breakdowns and anxiety at fucking 2 a.m. on a Thursday for no damn reason, and cry in the shower and then wipe your face off and get dressed and go to work, you can have anything you want. Mm-hmm. And if not, then you can, we still need fucking UPS drivers. Yep. We still need them. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. But you want to win at a high level. What are you willing to sit in? And if you're willing to sit in the fire, you can have anything you fucking want. So just figure out how to be okay with that.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, is because I have, one of the things I've implemented back in my life, and I've been doing this for the last, I think, 7-8 years now. I talk to my mom every single day on the drive, and one of the funniest things I always tell her is, I go, I'm a little psychotic. I'm a little strange. And then I always tell her, and she goes, what are you talking about? I go, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like, I like being a business owner. And then she goes, well, and she kind of goes, and we start having the conversation. I go, because here, let's be honest, Mom. Like, who else openly wants to
be miserable? 95% of the time.
And I go, you're failing most of the time. and I go, and everybody sits there and talks crap on you most of the time. And like, if you, the funny thing I always tell her, I go, damn if you do or damn if you don't. Because if you're not going on there and telling somebody, I go, if you want to be a leader, you have to tell somebody that they're not doing it right. Okay. And then you have to like stand up and be saying what you do believe in. Just like how, your social media. I go, there's going to be a lot of people slamming you for that. But hey, that's a part of it.
I think it was a conversation with Jordan, which is one of my trainers, and I think I was telling her, this life sucks. This is the life you're choosing. Let me just be clear with you. It is miserable 95% of the time. I'm like, you work more than your friends do. You have you don't have guaranteed pay. Like, all these things, the stress is this, I'm just listening. I said, this is not fun. Mm-hmm. But you know what's fun? Is fucking winning. Yeah. Like, and that's 1% of the time. It's 1% of the time.
Yeah.
And it takes a freaking psychopath to be like, I'm gonna pick a life where I'm miserable 95% of the time because I'm just gonna chase the fucking 1%. But it's why it's not for everybody. Yeah. I think, and that's been my mantra. That's gotten me through every anxiety attack, every late night, every freaking, misery has been, okay, just sitting there and be like, you wanted more. It's going to take more. You wanted more. It's going to take more. And that's literally just been my mantra, because it's anxiety most of the time. It's not fun most of the time.
We become neurotic about our work.
It's almost like the body dysmorphia of being in the gym, where it's like this approach to life most people aren't going to understand. Most people aren't going to get you. Most people aren't gonna, they're just gonna be like, well, come on, dude, like, you just take it too serious. You're just like, you gotta chill out. And you're like, you don't understand, I'm a fucking psychopath. I'm a fucking psychopath. I don't want what you have. I don't want you. I want this.
Mediocrity.
I'll do anything to not be mediocre. And I think that's like the common denominator of most like high driven entrepreneurs, anyone, they're like, I will do anything to not be fucking mediocre, and even if it's being miserable 99% of the time.
Yeah, because you get the joy of the joy of winning, the joy and the addiction to winning, and the addiction to, like, say for instance, a lot of people in personal training, their addiction to helping others trumps all the 3 a.m. wake up and all this other stuff, right?
It beats everything.
It beats everything. So like, if you can work and you could do this for, even let's say for instance here, we've been busting our ass for the last 5 years to run a facility, like to open the facility, the gym that we run, and to have this moment, it speaks the world to have, be sitting in front of, with Noah today and have this, amazing story to share with you guys. But it went through ups and downs. We opened during COVID. Like we were hiding behind a freaking sheet for how long,
dude,
right?
Really, it wasn't even a sheet. There was like when you tear a garbage can, bag. There was torn garbage bags, and we had them covering the windows for the first year. It was depressing. I was depressed for the first probably 18. I'm being serious, bro. Yeah. Because there was no sunlight. I was going to work at 4:00 in the morning in the dark, and then we would be in the gym, and I would train all day because I needed to pay off. I gave him the last money. So I had to do I got one client the first week. Second week, I got a second client. Fourth week, I got a third client. And I cool paid rent. And the only thing that was really driving me where I was like, I'm not going to fucking sleep, is because at the time, my girl had said, hey, like, this is what you need to do. This is your fucking purpose. I don't care if I have to pay for it. You're going to go work for Adam. That was legitimately what happened. And I'm such a fucking egomaniac. I was like, I ain't taking your fucking money, bitch.
Well, so, my girl's paying.
You ain't paying my rent. So I was like, I'm going to sleep here. So I was going there at 4:00 in the morning. It was dark. We had garbage bags over the window because there's still COVID. So it was dark on the inside. And I would go home at like 8 p.m. and it was dark on the outside. So I was in the dark 7 days a week. Yep. All day. I was born in the dark. So, but point being, it was depressing, and I couldn't even tell you like why we do this, because it's not for the money. Because if I said, Adam, here's $1 million, would you go like live on an island? Or if here's $1 billion, you wouldn't go live on an island, Gabe. You wouldn't do it. You'd be like, okay, cool. And you'd sit there for like 6 months. You'd be like, bro, I bet I could fucking run a canoe business on this bitch. You know what I mean? So it's not the money, and you couldn't even like. There's nothing like that's tangible about it. There's just something about the chase where we're just addicted to this fucking like, yeah. And then you meet other people like it, and you're like, are you crazy too? Cool. But we're all fucking psycho together. So
it's a community of psycho people.
Nuts people, but it's like, it's for the greater purpose. Like you said, it's like meeting people in their purpose, and it's just like, oh, you're crazy too? Cool. Like, we're all fucking psycho. So I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
I love it, and that's what it takes to win.
So that's what it takes to win.
I do want to be respectful because I know you got to get going.
Yes, sir.
Look, hey, Noah, huge props to you. Congratulations on buying the home.
I appreciate you, brother.
And the move as well, too.
Fuck us.
I don't know. Sorry. Sorry. Dude.
That was his fucking Louisiana. Oh, shit.
We're praying you through it, man. We know you're going to kill it over there, and we're going to be winning with you.
Hey, just to let everybody know, because I know Jordan's going to watch this. Jordan told me this multiple times. Noah's already promised to come back once a month to go visit Jordan, so I don't know. We're just gonna put that out there.
I was supposed to come back once a month, but we'll I know we'll see how this goes. No, I'm excited to be able to be. I've been based here and going to Dallas. He already knows going to Texas so much. All I really see it as a flip where I'm based in Dallas and coming back here, but only through the summertime, because in the wintertime, California in the winter is like Gotham. Yeah. Oh my, that's whole okay.
Well, cool. We appreciate you having us, and we appreciate you being with us too.
Thank y'all for having me. What a blast.
Cool. Peace.
All right.